Hey friends, so today we are going to make a pattern fish. So we're going to learn about patterns today and we get to do some drawing. So I'm going to go ahead and open up to a blank page in my sketchbook. Our sketchbooks are getting quite full, which is great. All right, and you can turn your paper whichever direction you want. I like landscape style, so I can fit a nice big fish and fill up that whole page. All right, so now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna start to draw my fish. Now you can draw any fish you want, or you can follow along with me. So I'm gonna use a pencil because I'm going to erase some of my lines after I'm done adding color. All right, so now it's time to draw a fish. So I'm gonna use some lines and some shapes to create him. So I'm gonna start with some lines, and a line that's gonna be great for a fish are gonna be some curved lines. So I'm gonna start with a curved line. I'm gonna start from one side of the page and go almost to the other, but leave a little bit of room for the tail. So I'm just gonna go back and forth, and it's okay if my line isn't perfect. And sometimes I like to go back and forth a few times until I get it just right. Then I'm gonna make a second line that's gonna curve the other way, just like a lemon or a football. All right, so far I have like an eye shape. And now I'm gonna start adding some details. So now I'm gonna add a tail. So I'm gonna add another curved line. So I'm gonna do a curved line up and a curved line down. Now you could finish off the end of the tail any way you like, but I'm gonna add some more curved lines for the tail. Now if you don't like the way this is ending up, you can always erase anytime you want and fix any mistakes. So now I have the basic shape of my fish, and now I'm gonna add even more details. So now I'm gonna add where his face will be. So I'm gonna add another curved line. All right, and then I'm gonna add another curved line for his mouth. So I like to use the point of where these two curved lines meet and make a big old smile. Now you can leave it just like that, but I'm gonna make it look like his mouth is opened. So I'm gonna go down a little bit, and I'm gonna draw a second curved line, just like that. Now I'm gonna erase this line right where these two lines are. And because I like it to look three-dimensional, I'm gonna draw the back of his mouth. So right where this ends, I just draw a line to the other side. And it looks like his mouth is open and he's 3D. So now I add a few more details. Let's add the eye. And the gills. And of course, the fins. So I'm gonna add some fins. And a top fin. All right, so now he's really looking like a fish. And of course, it wouldn't be a fish without scales, so I'm gonna add some scales next. So I use a U shape, and I draw them side by side, kind of like making a big W. And then the second row, I go in between like bricks. And then I just draw them off the side if they go off the side. And I just keep going back until I run out of space. All right. Of course, I can add some lines back here. Okay. And now I have the basic shape of my fish, and now I'm gonna decorate the background. So he is in the water, so I can add any kind of lines I want for detail. I can add other fish, I can add seaweed, but I think I'm just gonna add a whole bunch of bubbles everywhere. So I'm gonna add a whole bunch of circles. You guys know I love polka dots because they're super fun to draw and easy, and they look fantastic. So I'm just gonna draw some bubbles. Like there's lots of things going on around him that's making these bubbles. All right. And of course I can always add more detail if I want to. Okay, so my drawing is finished and now I'm going to add color. So I'm gonna color in a kind of a different way today. I'm gonna use markers, but if you don't have markers, you of course can use color pencils or crayons. You can use whatever you got. And I'm gonna use these to add patterns on my fish. So what I'm gonna be doing is I'm actually gonna be coloring in my picture with those patterns. So kind of sounds confusing, but it'll make sense later. So I'm gonna start with a color, the main color of my fish. I'm sure you're shocked that I'm gonna use orange, but that's what I'm gonna use today. And what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna start to fill in the parts of my fish with a pattern that I choose and my marker, okay? Now because my lines are really dark and I don't want my marker to mess up those lines, I'm just gonna erase them a tiny bit. That way I can still see them, but they're not so dark. That's a little pro tip for me to you. All right, so now I'm gonna go in and start to add my pattern. So I like to start just anywhere you want, and I'm gonna make a pattern with lines. So you can see that I'm filling in all the shapes with just patterns. I'm not technically coloring them in, I'm just filling them in with patterns. And then once I start to erase, all you see are those patterns, but together they form that picture. So I'm just taking my eraser and erasing some of those lines, just so you get the idea of what our fish is going to look like in the end. So I'm gonna continue and fill in my details with patterns. So I'm just following the shape of my lines and the shapes that I created, and I'm just filling those in with patterns. So I'm gonna continue to do that until I'm all finished. So you'll see me do it now. Boys and girls, so there's my finished pattern fish. So I did add color. I didn't color it in, but I added color with pattern. So hope you guys had lots of fun and enjoyed this project, and I'll see you later. Bye.